deviate. che0nsu is a player who very much likes to experiment with new strategies, whereas DawN on the other side, like you said, taking a slightly suboptimal route in terms of the ban he's going for, just because he wants to play it safe. He knows that he is very strong on the secret rogue, so he's relying on his power with the deck, his proficiency, rather than the raw numbers.
Yeah, I think it really goes to show how many players are on board with the idea of just metagaming Conquest as a format, which is, you know, not necessarily playing the 4 strongest decks across the board in order to get an advantage when you look at your lineup cohesively. And I do tend to favor this strategy. che0nsu, however, will start up with a matchup that I don't feel is particularly good for the weapon rogue. His opening curve is pretty nice, though.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've just said there. The interesting part for me there from DawN was I kind of wanted to keep Blade Dance there, because I know he didn't have anything especially strong to pair it with before he went Coin Marrow Slicer, which I didn't want to keep, by the way. But just hero power Blade Dance in this matchup is not terrible, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. che0nsu's weapon rogue list also is the more standard one with the Worgen Infiltrators, so the minions are much more fragile than compared to Possessi's list, which had Pharaoh Cat and Evil Miscreant. It's also fair to say, though, that for DawN, he could just be going for the almost strictly better option of Shard Shatter Mystic, which, while you're on coin, you can generally just get it down the same time as Blade Dance anyway, and you maintain a 3-2 on the board. So by no means do I think the mulligan is strictly wrong.
Oh, no, not at all. I was really just exploring the idea because I think one of the things I've liked with Demon Hunter play as it's developed over the weeks in Grandmasters is appreciating Blade Dance more. It's low-key just the power spike of the deck a lot of the time is being able to take an incredibly powerful 2-mana AoE and just dominate the board.
And from DawN, you could already see from the fact that he took the trade on his minion rather than with the hero power that he's trying to protect his health total. But against specifically this self-sharpening sword on turn 3, I think there was some justification for keeping your Spirit Jailer as a 1-3 because a lot of the time that's the way you kill off the 3-1, and now you might have to face time.
It's true, that is true. Especially with double Warblades in hand, right? Like, you're not too precious about your health total here.
At the moment, at least.
Very, very clean right now, though.
Yeah, the Warblades curve into Glavebound definitely makes sense. The second Glavebound gets sketchy, but by then you hope to have drawn something better, or at worst, second Warglaze with Soulshear.
I mean, because of the thinking of coin Glavebound into Glavebound, do you ever hold here and tank another 3 damage? You don't like it?
I don't know. I mean, you make a strong argument. Obviously, at some point, offense is the best defense. If you get so far ahead on board, double Glavebound with activation can make the weapon rogue start to want to trade into you instead, and by that virtue, you can sometimes heal for even more. But I honestly couldn't tell you.
Oh, this is clean, though. I mean, I was honestly thinking you can use both the Glavebounds defensively, just to clear off anything they play, which I think, on average, maybe saves you health, even though you're tanking an extra 3 there. Super complicated turn, for sure, despite it just being a simple do you hit or not hit. It does work out on this turn, however, fantastically for DawN.
Yeah, there's just checks and balances no matter which line you go for. If che0nsu had, you know, say a Deadly Poison cutting class turn instead of the Steel Dancer, suddenly you feel a little bit bad for having taken the extra damage, and you lose the race that way. But now that che0nsu's hand has been a bit more board-based, the Glavebound plays are definitely more useful for DawN, and now he still has Eldrazi Soulshear.
The Skull not going anywhere anytime soon. So
che0nsu needs Greyheart Sage, Secret Passage, second Steel Dancer, Jandice, just something impactful.
You know, this is still a reasonable turn. He's got one more turn of strong development, then yes, I agree. He needs a little bit extra after that.
Blood and plunder.
You're equipping the Hooked Scimitar. Mana spent, but this also feels scary to play out your stealth, which sometimes dies before you possibly pop back to Greyheart Sage. But, you know, Weapon Rogue doesn't leave a lot of room for flexibility. You tend to have to go all in.
Oh, this is rough as well. The taunt is so annoying for DawN. Otherwise, it's such an easy play of Glavebound on the 3-3. Whereas now he has to tank it, I suppose, and then glaive-bound face?
That's the mana efficient play. But if you feel like che0nsu's next turn is not Secret Passage, this next card in hand, how much information can you get? It's certainly not Jandis, because I think that would have come down instead of this last turn. But Secret Passage is the scary one.
I think Secret Passage probably would have come down instead of this. Like, he'd just go, he'd
really?
play out the Corsair and then just play Secret Passage, right? This wasn't a strong turn.
That's fair.
He could look for Krastinov, Jandis, Secret, you know, this self-sharpening sword.
So if you feel like the hand is weak, the point I wanted to make is you can sometimes just slow down, not tank the 3 with the Soul Shear.
Okay.
But if you think like the follow-up is strong, then it's obviously much better to have the 6-4 on board. Oh, yikes!
Backstab very appropriate as he is betrayed by his own deck here.
Oh, Weapon Rogue.
And DawN has to be able to start making pretty strong reads now about what this last card is.
Indeed. I think literally every other card would be played. Maybe Eviscerate gets saved, but every other card is weapons or minions or card draw, all of which gets played.
I grow impatient.
Thinking this might be a risky militia.
I
know
love
it's,
it.
like, you're really scared of dying, of course, but if you have the read on that being backstab, you know you're not dead, whether you swing or not, and you need to start representing counter-lethal.
Yeah, the militia definitely puts a clock. And there are 4 fragments in the deck, so that's 12 plus the militia body, 17.
It's lethal represented.
Yes, if you go face with the glaive bound, but that part was sketchy. Because obviously che0nsu, oh no, poor che0nsu.
Oh, it's so close.
This poor man.
Like,
he's not dying.
Technically, he's still got lethal next turn if you play Spy Mistress. Like, it's not likely because Skull was just played, but
yeah. I don't
you
like
play it
from DawN.
You do or you don't?
The last turn, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like Skull was the least likely thing for him to do. Obviously, he was thinking about actually drawing the fragments to try and stay alive for longer, but I think on average, if you know that che0nsu's card has been dead for this long, it's better to just give yourself 2 turns.
Well, I mean, to be fair to him, I think he was actually thinking about exactly this, of drawing all the damage buff cards, because with 1 activation left on the Eldraki, he can just lifesteal for the almost insta-win with this line.
That's true.
I really don't hate this line, actually, from DawN.
The Skull on that immediate turn, he played it. Obviously, it's better if you get healing, but for the follow-up, you can also lock out the game one way or another if you hit the damage. But by that point, if che0nsu has drawn Secret Passage, is the healing enough versus just putting che0nsu on a 2-turn clock?
That's fair. So it has to be Secret Passage for you to be dead here.
Uh-huh.
So you just set up the most robust board possible.
Or just Arrow Slicer, because Rogue can never heal. Best they can do is set up Hunt with Candace, and you still have...
Sure, okay.
It's all the same, honestly.
Lethal? No, not quite.
Close.
Job done.
Poor che0nsu, man. Poor che0nsu. That was just 0 Greyheart Sage, 0 Cutting Class, 0 Secret Passage run.
Yep. I think his game plan was obviously very straightforward. He didn't have much room to deviate. I think I liked pretty much everything I saw from him. You know, he was trading with the weapon when he had to, but mostly just going face, trying to get the damage through, but 0 value cards drawn whatsoever. It's unlucky, doesn't happen often, but you have to prepare for it with an aggro deck. It can be the case sometimes. First game going to DawN there. Not the biggest of wins in terms of how likely a deck is to get through. I think Demon Hunter had a pretty good chance of taking a win at some point with a good matchup against the Rogue, good matchup against the Mage. So che0nsu still very much in this in terms of trying to get his first win of round robin on the table. If he loses this one, it's 0-5 and an almost guaranteed bottom 2 then.
That would feel really terrible for che0nsu, who had a pretty good run in the first 3 weeks of Swiss, I want to say, but in the round robin, things just have not been coming together. Although, even if he does end up in the bottom 2, it's worth noting that in Division A, that does not mean automatic. Yep. They do have a relegation bracket where the seeding depends on how you finished. But che0nsu, of course, still has a chance in the rest of the series. We were talking about how it's the Mage, the one that che0nsu can prey upon. It's not the first reverse sweep that we might potentially see this weekend.
It very well could not be. We'll have to find out whether or not it can be done, though, after this short break. We'll be back very soon.
(7 本の指か7本の足か選ぶなら7本の足かな。ハーストーンができなくなるのがちょっと怖い。
应该是7只手指吧，因为这样就可以做比较多的事情。你要有7个脚趾也不一定会走得比较快。
평소에 손이나 발 사용할 때도 손이 더 활용도가 더 많이 높은 것 같아서 네, 손을 선택했어요.
손가락을 많이 필요로 해본 적이 없어서 저는 오히려 그게 더 편하지 않을까 생각합니다.
아무래도 게임 좀 많이 하다 보니까 좀 더 유리할 거 아니에요? 게임 하는데 그래서 손가락 7개인 게 더 나을 것 같습니다.
どちらでもなくて腕を2本増やしたいです。
This is our third series of the day. We're already one match in here, or one game, sorry, into our third series of the day here in APAC. che0nsu up against DawN, and it was a pretty brutal loss there for che0nsu on the Weapon Rogue. As you were saying, though, still plenty of time to turn things around for him. And this next match, I think, is significantly more important for the play out of the series. It's going to be the Mage for DawN up against the Demon Hunter for this time che0nsu piloting the Demon Hunter. And if he loses this one, I think he's going to be in real trouble all of a sudden.
That's right. We were just talking about how if there's any deck that DawN needs to kind of get away with a win on, it's the Mage, because che0nsu's lineup, while initially built to have a soft target on Bomb Warrior, seems to have a pretty good matchup against Mage across the board as a side effect. So Demon Hunter, che0nsu's particular build with the double Battle Fiends, I feel is good in the matchup as well. But of course, the Ooze tech in there, not so much.
Yeah, not really meant for the matchup in particular, but jumping right in. We can see DawN is going with the Dragon version of the deck. So interesting to see how this is just taken off in APAC this week. You know, the old meme, it was more so a case when Hunter Ace was still a Grandmaster, never forget, is that APAC was always kind of like a week behind, was how it felt a couple seasons ago, where they were just playing whatever decks Hunter Ace brought the week after. I definitely don't believe that to be the case anymore, of course, but it definitely feels like there's still the inspiration where they're taking, you know, heavy inspiration from what Orange in particular here was going for here and trusting him with this build of the deck.
I mean, last season it was copying a current Grandmaster. This season it's copying a Grandmaster from 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. I don't know.
Yikes.
Sorry,
Yikes.
I just had to. They never watch APAC anyway, it's fine, Derek. Okay, DawN just going to get a pretty clean clear on the board, not getting the value from Arcane Breath, which is another reason why I don't particularly like the Dragon build, is that you don't have that many dragons to justify playing Arcane Breath, in my opinion. But the ultimate outcome is DawN's able to land Tempo Shenvala, and on an empty board, it is really difficult to answer this in almost any matchup.
Yeah, I think so clever to throw it down. I mean, I would say it's not a particularly advanced play to throw it down, but it's a scary play for sure. It takes nerves to go for the Tempo Shenvala. And when you break it down, it's very, very likely to stick. It has to be exactly Twin Slice, I think, here, for it to be cleanly cleared off, which is not there. It's going to stick.
Yeah, or something like Coin Double Soul Share, which the Demon Hunter doesn't even want to do. And from che0nsu's play of sinking in damage into it, I'm actually a bit confused about how he's gonna go about the curve, because I was thinking maybe you can just ooze this turn and then most cases the ooze gets spelled down, Shenvala still at full health, and you can coin Lapidary to kill it.
Does this get the soul shards into the deck though for Lapidary, or were they already there?
He had Spirit Jailer turn 1.
Right, yeah, okay. Interesting.
Evocation, but Frostbolt is so tempting, but this is one of those situations where he's super far ahead, plus he has Mana Giant in hand that I really want the Evo.
Well, I think what he's almost wondering about is it play Evocation for a 5/5 and then just pass? Because this is the last activation, right? And it's the only way to do it.
That's true. Oh man.
Oh, it's so tough. He just throws away a 5/5. Like, that's a 1-mana 5/5 he just passed up.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my god, that's really difficult.
That is such a hard choice. I think I liked the Evo, though. I think I like just throwing it down and taking a 5/5.
I have to agree. Especially since che0nsu's last turn was partially damaged to Shenvala, so you put another 5/5, probably messes up what he wanted to do that turn to try and clear both.
Exactly. Like, if you're afraid of Coin Lapidary to take out the 5/5, brilliant. You then have a Shenvala in play. You can try and activate it with the Wand Thief, or just carry on with your day, doing your stuff.
It was another brave play to make, because if he had gone for the Evo, DawN's hand at the time was Cyclone, Mana Giant, Wand Thief, with possibly no nice activation for Wand Thief to follow up. I'm just stating the downsides, but I also like you know, getting the 5/5 in play.
Tough game, tough deck. Hearthstone is not easy, but wow, this is a nice easy turn for che0nsu. Double Panthara, damage going face, DawN behind on board. It's not looking good.
Yeah, and che0nsu has the Blade Dance clear. Twin Slice is not ideal compared to Marrow Slicer, but you'll take that if DawN's best response is to somehow go wider on the board. Oh. You actually do play dragons in the deck, so is it Malicos?
It's gotta be Brightwing, right? I mean, Alexstrasza is obviously kind of tempting for the heal. Oh, maybe you do get to Alexstrasza. It's not ridiculous, right? Like, if you
Oh,
clear the
man.
board...
What to do? What to
Okay,
do?
okay,
I think
this
it
is
was
sensible.
between Brightwing and Malagos.
You're not
Brightwing
thinking big
obviously
enough.
just being cheaper to help with them. Okay, how's this for big enough, Derek?
Oh, it should have been Alex Strauser and Pyroblast. I'm just saying, you're playing Freeze Mage here.
And Tempo Mage is just so different every single time. Alright, well that's the Lapidary cleared, but che0nsu has a good response with his Twin Slice Blade Dance.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Just
Nana's
worth
a bit
remembering
off.
as well, though, that every turn we're living in the legacy of Evocation still in hand and a 5/5 not being on the board.
Yep. We talk about how primary game plan for Tempo Mage is getting down the Mana Giant super early, but obviously he didn't get that much of a discount if he had played Evocation, so
Yeah.
by holding it, he's holding out for Apprentice and turbo out Mana Giants. For che0nsu though, even though you would like the Lapidary this turn, I think this is a bit too clean. Twin Slice, Hero Power, Blade Dance, play the Ooze, unlock the Skull. Oh, is he not Blade Dancing? Oh, interesting. I didn't think he was gonna play the Jailer here and just Blade Dance instead.
Okay. This actually I don't hate. I don't hate this line from che0nsu because you have to remember Skull next turn looks pretty nice. Eventually, Giants are going to come down, and with Lapidary Second Slice in hand, he potentially has an answer to that. He doesn't need to just concede to Giant Freeze.
Yeah, that's true. Blade Dance can be one of the most important cards in the matchup. It's just tough to identify when you can play it for decent value versus huge swing on board. I thought che0nsu's position was a bit more aggressive on this, but obviously there's merits to this line as well.
Like, this turn, I don't see how this is a Brightwing turn. Like, he had Evocation in hand. I think this was just like Magic Trick Evocation and try and get down double Giant here. Like, or at least one. Like, this is zero development onto the board. What is he setting up for?
I guess empty board Giant? Like, obviously...
When does that come around?
Well, this is a Flame Ward, so sometimes...
I guess.
But I agree, it feels very slow, because let's say everything goes right for you. che0nsu takes bad trade, I mean, and he has a clear board. What if they just equip a weapon and then you play Giant, you're dead across 2 turns?
Yeah.
And for che0nsu, okay, see what the Skull brings, and then he can take some value trades before activating the Flame Ward. A free Battle
che0nsu knows
Fiend.
what's up. He's taking them trades.
Oh, didn't kill the one.
Except the last one. I guess technically this gets damage face at the expense of a 1/3.
1 extra damage face.
Not wrong. Just interesting.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think it's wrong because
Okay, fair.
1 thief.
Okay.
Like
Now.
somewhat challenges the battle.
Right. I mean, any quibbles about play earlier aside, DawN got what he wanted here, right? We can agree. This is about as good as it could possibly have gone on the previous turn.
Right.
The payoff is double Mana Giant now with a wide board. This is hard to clear up because the Blade Dance will not be able to snipe off both the Giants necessarily. This is what he's been setting up for. Let's see the payoff.
He was setting up for it, but che0nsu's exact hand has 1 mana Marrow Slicer, Shadow Shard, Mystic, Hero Power, Blade Dance. Get out of my game. Or even just like, you can be brave and go for a Lapidary line, but I want to take my guaranteed clear.
I agree. It's very clean.
Demons.
Bish bash bosh.
Demons.
Bing bang bong. Count it up once, count it up twice. I think you float a mana.
Yeah.
So you can technically just Chaos Strike for the cycle. But at this point, I think it's valuable for the 2 damage instead.
Agreed.
So I like the floating 1 here. And this can happen if you wait a bit too long with the Giants. It's tough to say, but also this is a legacy of che0nsu being conservative with his Blade Dance, which I was thinking he might just use earlier to be aggressive. Anyways,
Yeah, I mean, that is...
matchup.
Even ignoring what DawN did, I think that was the real genius stroke from che0nsu this game, because I was absolutely alongside you. I was tunnel visioning on just going for a aggressive blade dance there, but I think he understands the matchup very well here. You know, you don't have to go for it there because he was still getting damage through to face, and then you save it for, I mean, situations exactly like this. They come up very often in the matchup.
True, the mage often can't race you. They don't play first in the deck, they have to generate it. Oh, oof. It's just so sad for DawN. He's gonna die with an extra evocation in hand.
Yeah.
Which could have been a 5/5 a long time ago.
Okay, yeah, well, that's... yes, I mean, that is obviously the key decision of this game. That is where everything started to go wrong for DawN. You know, I was kind of a bit skeptical of the turn with Brightwing, but I think the main thing is just that, yeah, there should have been a 5/5 on the board at the start of the game. You have to fight for tempo in this matchup. I don't care about getting a full value evocation. I think that was a pretty massive misplay. Yeah.
It's just funny. I agree with everything you said there. Just, I feel bad for being hard on DawN a couple times because I do think he's made a huge improvement for this series, but it's got to be even more than that to really make it to the top in Division A.
Right, and I mean, you know, I've said it a million times, I'm a broken record at this point, but I don't rag on DawN because I don't think he's a good player. I rag on him because I think he is a good player. I think he has the potential to play very well, and I want to see that from him. I expect the highest level of play here in Grandmasters.
Agreed. 100%. Double Sandhoof Water Bear from Conch, is that out? Even enough? He can't kill the 5/5, so it's not even good enough, I think.
It doesn't get there.
Going for Frostbolt? Fair? Yeah, that's probably higher odds.
Yeah.
You win
GG.
GG, one game apiece. Both the Demon Hunters getting the win as we expected, and a very important win for che0nsu. If he does want to get that first win on the table, which I'm sure he does, as he is here to compete here in Grandmasters and try and go up to 1 and 4. Getting the win there with the Demon Hunter was absolutely crucial. And so now with both of those out of the way, it's looking like still, I think, DawN is in a slightly worse position. And so he, because of that rogue that he's got there, the secret rogue is struggling a little bit here because of how it doesn't line up quite so well against the mage. But having said that, I think that if you want to compare Weapon Rogue versus Mage or Secret Rogue versus Mage, they both have a slightly favorable matchup.
Yes, I think that's fair to say. I definitely like Weapon Rogue's chances a little bit more because in terms of primary game plan, Secret Rogue wants to build a big minion, have it connect base a couple times. Mage is naturally running counterplay to that in their deck with the Rays of Frost, whereas for Weapon Rogue, I think Mage tends to rely on generating Ice Barriers, Frostbolts, or even mirror images to slow down their game plan. But of course, it's worth noting that Secret Rogue can be a whole lot more flexible, whereas Weapon Rogue, as we saw in Game 1, tends to have one plan and one plan only.
It really does. Yeah, it was not the one game plan that you want to have necessarily in the first game from che0nsu. You hope to get a little bit more draw, a little bit more value in the matchup for sure. But he's going to be starting things off with the Mage instead. A matchup that I think I let my own personal experience warp a little bit too heavily because I do think when you're playing against a very strong Secret Rogue player like DawN absolutely is, then you are looking to be having a slightly unfavorable matchup as the Mage.
Yeah, I can get behind that assessment as well. I also want to say, though, that the matchup is very coin-dependent. Both of these decks benefit super greatly off the coin. So I'm already liking che0nsu's chances. On top of that, DawN's opening hand is not the best, but at least Dirty Trick is very likely to give him Cycle. But I do remember a game from Blitzchung where he just played Mana Cyclone as a 2-mana 2/2 to never activate these secrets.
Yeah, and to be fair, this is the kind of hand that can do that. You're probably looking at like Coin Raz at some point later on, but you know, it's minion heavy at the moment for sure.
Well, DawN has another secret to go with for this turn, plus Backstab to clean this up. Or is it even Dagger? I think I least like Dagger of all the options, so I think it's still Dirty Tricks. Just get himself a better turn 3.
So what do you do if you go Dirty Tricks, Backstab, Trade here, and they play a minion? Wand Maker or Solarian? You're pretty
And
sad
it's-
then, right?
Well, it's Dagger Trade the 1/1 cat. I think you can
Oh,
hold
that's
out for
true.
that.
Yeah. Oh, that is a good point. He's holding on to the backstab here, I think, instead to give him another way to answer back against the board like that. Whoa.
Backstab, worth noting, it's an important combo activator for many 3-drops that he can top deck this turn, but they're all not there. Uh-oh. We're getting into Shadow Step the Cat territory, I think. He needs something to do.
I hate Shadow Step the cat.
I hate it too. Okay, maybe just ambush. You can hold out for one more turn and then one Wraith. Okay, okay.
che0nsu, of course, has perfect information now on the secret in play. So,
Right.
I mean, I was going to say he'll try and hold off on playing spells, but this hand with the evocation drawn quite clearly does want to pop off at some point soon. However, this second secret almost guarantees that we're going to see a somewhat slow turn here because he does not want to activate a powerful plagiarize.
Correct. DawN is playing double plagiarize, double dirty tricks, one ambush. Okay, from che0nsu's perspective, it could still be plagiarized, so he's not holding, not playing the primordial studies. Oh no!
The worst possibly timed Hanar here. Like, you can go Hanar one thief and try and prep a secret.
Yeah, let's pray.
Okay, rolling fireball's not bad.
I'm thinking hold the
Prep
and
bot?
then turn 6. Hawk? I don't know. There's also a line where you just step Hanar for later.
Oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
So many options.
It's just that this hand, you don't have the question, you don't have the Edwin, so you gotta just find other ways to make use of your shadow. Oh, evocation!
Okay, evocation's very powerful, but Incanta's flow I find very surprising. There's like,
I did not like that.
yeah, like he's already drawn 2 secrets. There's really not much in the deck that hits at all.
Yeah, it's just like your passages, but it doesn't discount your other backstab, your prep, your shadow step. That was the option I least liked. By a wide margin.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. Does mean, though, that with all these 1-mana spells, che0nsu will take this opportunity. Now that he knows it's not plagiarized, he knew it was the ambush, he can start to pop off here with this apprentice, try and get the giant playable next turn. And with the Conjurer's Calling as well, there's some spicy combos brewing.
Yeah, this giant definitely feeling like it's gonna come down this turn. I'm already calling it.
Oh, that's pretty good!
Yep.
That's pretty good. Draw 2 cards.
Or is it double icicle to kill the Hanar? Well, you could just trade one. Yeah. Take the card, draw, icicle trade.
Yeah.
Very clean, very clean. Giant playable.
Is that 0 mana? Oh, it will be, won't it?
Yep.
Oh my god!
I could feel it. I'm a giant whisperer at this point.
This is, okay, that's a good draw. That's a good draw. He's got prep evocation with a step on the 1 thief first.
I guess you evo and then just prep something more expensive. Saves mana.
Okay, 1 more mana, 1 less card. That's probably an okay exchange. Ancient Mysteries is good here, right? That's gets you a secret from your deck.
True. Only he had a Hanar. Rain Freeze and then missiles? It's not high odds to kill Giant either way. It's just
not.
starting with this, and then now he Rain Freezes the Apprentice, I would assume.
I mean, he's got prep Icicle to kill off the Giant still, right?
True. As long as he preps either the Icicle or the Secret, the Ancient Mysteries, I'm down. This was a fancy turn. but will it be enough?
Well, it cleared off the giant. That's what stops him from just instantly losing the game here, I think it's fair to say, with the Conjurer's Calling. Apprentice left on board, you don't feel good about by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not insta-GG.
Is this an auto-raz? I would start with Magic Trick, look for Primordial, so you can potentially get down the lab partner for free with Raz. Make the whole turn super clean.
Yeah, I agree completely. Secret has been played, though, of course, so you are worrying about giving them value, I think is why he's just reaching for the Raz straight up.
Okay. But you also do get info by starting with the spell.
That's true.
Arcane Breath.
I think I like the breath.
Yeah. Just play it this turn. You isolate 1/1. I mean, he'll know the info about dirty tricks after.
Time runs out on me.
And then technically your apprentice is alive on board. I still want a Raz. It's not especially powerful, but developing a Raz is still a powerful thing to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just another threat they have to clear after they've used all of their removal that they had on that turn.
Okay, DawN can pull this back. We're looking at Miscreant, Shadow Step, after the backstab.
We are looking at, again, I will say here, what would have been an incredibly powerful play of rolling Fireball as well, though, just to clear off both these minions. I know I'm preaching to the choir here in terms of that this Incantus flow is not the way to go.
I'm also imagining Puck, but he doesn't have prep anymore, but hey, I know what you mean. He's surely stabbing the apprentice. So we could go Bone Wraith Cult Neophyte instead.
che0nsu.
Oh, oh man. I just don't think this card does anything. It doesn't do anything, does it?
Yeah. It's 2 mana do nothing. Oh! Okay.
I got Stepping the Thief because it dies to Raz.
Yeah.
And it probably by this point has more value than 2 random lackeys. He needs something big. Ooh, big one. Devolving.
Whoa, Devolving's pretty juicy, right? I guess you take it and save it just because you want an answer.
Yeah. I was super tempted to rip it and push 3 face, but I understand as well. Only way you're losing is big secret passage turn. Is that your point?
Yeah, well, big Edwin, big questing, big secret passage, whatever. It's just a backup plan in case something goes wrong, like this, par exemple.
I was thinking maybe just Ray of Frost and win through, you know, aggression by that point, but it's small margins of difference for sure.
Sure, probably just the best spell. I don't know, maybe I was building it up too much in my head. It's not even that powerful of an Edwin, to be honest. You can just freeze it and move on quite happily.
Yeah, I mean, the Raz lab partner just sticks, so...
Obviously, plagiarize is what you're afraid of. You've seen, like, I think every other secret at this point, apart from the plagiarize.
I can't remember about Ambush for some reason, but yeah, but he has seen both dirty tricks for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has seen the other Ambusher, right? So completely fine to go for this.
Ho 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 ho! Foolish mortals that we were, Gia. We did not see the power of 0 mana secret passage. Joke's on us.
I mean, yeah, sure, joke's on us. How much better is it than the current hand? I'm very interested in the combustion to finally kill off this Raz.
Yeah. So combustion spellkin?
Yup. Okay, as for power plays that are left in the deck, he still has Jandis. There's Vendetta in this list, which can deal with Raz sometimes. Okay, Pharaoh Cat. Oh no! Oh no!
Step at Edwin?
He's going for the free Vendetta.
Yeah.
Hey, it's free! We hit the 35% outer. Oh!
What?
What? Why not the Wing Guardian? I mean, Vendetta first, and then... I'm so lost, Tara.
What are you doing? Hello? I'm losing it here, dude. He goes with
Me too.
not Winged Guardian on that turn. Why?
Too. My only guess is he played the Bone Wraith before he even saw what he got.
Well, don't do that then.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. It's terrible.
I wonder.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I mean, you just do stuff now here as che0nsu, right? Like, what are you even afraid of?
Yeah. Not much. The Devolving Missiles has 2 great targets here. It's only a question of whether he wanted to make this a Shenvala turn. Looks like he can definitely hold off and just go off with Evocation instead. Great 3-drop to devolve into. Sure.
I mean, you can be salty about this, but at the same time, that shouldn't be a 3-drop. That should be a 6-drop.
I know.
You can only be so upset here as Dawn.
Oh, che0nsu has side quest activation next turn too.
Yeah.
Possibly even both the side quests.
Oh man, I just hate seeing stuff like this. Like, I you know, like I said, I'm getting ragged on this for a little bit, but I still believe in DawN. You know, I still think there is very strong potential for him. Genuinely, I believe that. But he needs to stop making these mistakes. They're happening too often now. It's every series that we're seeing these small mistakes, whereas his competitors are just not doing the same thing.
Yep. I don't know if it's bad habit, getting overly excited in spots, but these are things that can be avoided if you just don't go on autopilot. It feels like DawN is playing on autopilot when this is not your average ladder game. This is Grandmasters. This could be relegation.
Yeah. And, I mean, it almost came to fruition last season. It was a sketchy season where he almost got knocked out. And this series isn't over yet. Again, I'm always willing to just draw a blank slate and analyze from here on in how the plays are going. But it hasn't been coming through for DawN. It hasn't been coming through so far.
For che0nsu, the turn is still looking very powerful. Honestly, it's just board space that's an issue here. I kind of want to conj the 3/3 or the 1/6, and you can still get the Shenvala activation as long as you trade first. Now the conj is not an option, but he still has, you know, Shenvala activations in other ways. Very possibly the Arcane Missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And Guardian can't be underestimated how annoying it is because it can't be targeted. I will not make the joke about how even more annoying it could be if it comes down a turn earlier. I know you're thinking it.
No. I'm moving on.
Okay.
It's done and dusted now. And for the rest of the game, in terms of trying to win this back, like, we are approaching the point, I think, where DawN needs to generate the miracle out. Like, he's played Edwin in terms of the big swing onto the board, so like Edwin freeze isn't a thing. Even Jandis for like Twilight Runner and Earth Elemental, which we have seen that exact combination already in APAC GM. I still don't think is quite good enough to pull this back with Shenvala on the board.
Agreed. I think it's now Miscreant try to generate a secret territory and maybe Shadow Step, just go for the blackjack stunners, try and overdraw che0nsu or something like that, but everything definitely feels like playing from behind, and you still end up incrementally taking damage every turn. With the mana remaining, I still expect che0nsu though.
che0nsu.
che0nsu and shoot the Wand Maker. Okay, this clears Shambhala.
Yes, it does. And then you discover a dragon and it's Deathwing, and you have a chance.
Looks like he's just redaggering.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I like your Deathwing thinking, though. That can be an out sometimes. Is this 3 evocations? Oh, no. It might as well be 3 evocations in hand. I just saw a purple card, and
yeah, I mean,
imagination went wild.
It's only the merciful change that cards cannot generate themselves anymore that stops this from being infinite evocations at this point. Conjurer's Calling is fantastic.
Yes. It's just
Chuck that on Skyfin, or
awkward.
what it's called.
Maybe on the Frozen minion, because technically he just wants to finally get rid of this Wing Guardian, which you can only do with the trades at the moment.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I want to start with Learn Dracon. Oh wait, sorry, that's the side quest in play already. So.
Oh right, yeah.
Really? So potentially leaving up a 6 instead.
Time runs out on me.
Going super wide on the board though. Like, I mean, I guess he's just saying for the most part he doesn't really care about this being in play.
Fair enough.
I genuinely do not think it matters.
Yeah, we'll get another 6/6.
Powerful stuff, indeed, from old che0nsu. Not quite so much from DawN though. 2 5-drops on this turn is a GG. Dragons.
Falcon cannot get you secrets because they cost 2.
Yeah. Secret passage, I guess, is what you're going for.
Okay. He hardly even has stuff in his deck. Oh my gosh, it's 2 questing, Evil Miscreant, Plagiarize, Cult Neophyte, and the other passage left in DawN's deck.
Okay, he needs to generate Mind Render Elucia so that when he plays Daring Escape, it bounces all of che0nsu's minions back to hand. That's definitely how it works. Don't ask me any questions. Oh my god. Okay, that's a nutty Jandice. Doesn't matter in this instance, but it is one of the best Jandices you can get.
Yeah. Flashy way to go out.
Alright.
Yeah, Giga dead on board.
Yep.
DawN throws it down. And I think you, me, and DawN all together need to recollect ourselves going into the rest of the series.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I am glad. I will say that che0nsu got the win there. I think he was the deserving victor in that particular game of Hearthstone. But you know, DawN getting up from the table there, I think absolutely right. You know, like I've always been saying, every moment, every game, you draw a blank slate. You don't think about the past. You just think about winning this particular game of Hearthstone. And up against the Rogue as the last remaining deck, left for che0nsu, with the Mage having taken a win there. I think it's definitely doable here for DawN. Absolutely. The Weapon Rogue is, I think it's been realized that while it's a decent deck, definitely a good deck for players who are trying to climb up to Legend. I think it's not an especially expensive deck, a very fairly simple deck as well. It's not quite at the power level that we're at in Hearthstone. You need to have a targeted reason to bring it, which is Bomb Warrior most of the time, because it's got a fantastic matchup there. It's not a terrible deck at all, but it's definitely one that DawN can win against twice.
Yeah, the thing about Weapon Rogue is that while on paper it does have certain matchups that the numbers would suggest you want to bring this if you're trying to target Bomb Warriors or even Tempo Mage, compared to Secret Rogue. But as a deck, I think you can get way more of an edge and additional percentage on Secret Rogue if you play it at the very top level. With Weapon, there's very little generation, the game plans are less flexible, but with Secret Rogue, you can do so many things that your opponent cannot necessarily expect and experience on that really, really pays off. So there is still a way to beat the Weapon Rogue, even though the ladder numbers don't necessarily support DawN's matchup.
Yeah, it's definitely possible for him. You know, we saw Dead Hand from che0nsu earlier on. It can come in that form. It can also come in the form of just finding all the weapon payoff cards, but none of the weapons themselves. Plenty of time. We've seen players go hero power, deadly poison, into Steel Dancer when they just don't find the scimitar or the self-sharpening sword. And even here for che0nsu, you know, keeping the Worgen Infiltrator, you'd have to imagine, as the one keep. It's definitely needs more support already. This is not a winning hand quite yet.
That's right. Greyheart Sage would be huge for che0nsu, but I will say that at least he's the first to get on board, and so if there were a lab partner to come down, he would have a response for it. Oh, this hand is icky though.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, right? The payoff cards are there, but the weapons are not. Scimitar is okay, you know, need an activator obviously, but I guess with the curve of Dread Corsair on 3, hopefully Scimitar on 4, this can do something. This can maybe get there.
There's some potential. Oh,
whoa.
Oh, che0nsu
Okay.
is so happy to see it.
I mean, I thought it was going to be backstab, but it's still good.
che0nsu is like a kid in a candy store with his reactions. Honestly, it makes me happy to watch.
I mean, can you blame him?
He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, exactly. He's a win away here from getting his first series win of the round robin. It's more than just ending at the bottom now for him in terms of relegation on the line. It's honor. It's like proving that you deserve your spot here. You don't want to go undefeated through the round, or sorry, without a win throughout the entire round robin.
Absolutely. And already, does this trade happen is a big consideration to make. I think you can get away with just shipping this face, because if DawN wants to ping on their 3-mana turn, that's a huge win for che0nsu.
Okay, yeah, there's no missiles in the deck. Spellwinger hasn't died yet. It's kind of difficult to deal with this 2-1. There's obviously lots of things you can't account for. In Mage, Evocation, Magic Trick, Arcane Breath, plenty of generation, so I don't hate trading here at all. It's the safer line, for sure.
Right. If you think they have the big Apprentice pop-off turn, you want to have the least targets on your board as possible.
Speaking of,
che0nsu's follow-up is starting to get very spicy with the Toxin Blade, Dread, or Ser, but DawN's hand is available to pop off right now.
Right, like, how do you play this? I'm looking at Solarian Arcane Breath is a very reasonable play on this turn. It's powerful, swings back forward, you don't take any damage. That could have just been a at least triple, most likely quadruple activation on the Mana Cyclone right there, and swing back forward.
Could have been, but in the end, I like DawN's line because instead we're looking at Shenvala activation, which is very likely with the coin and magic trick. The Apprentice could give you just another 1-cost spell for free. And by then you do have a pretty empty hand, but the board, I would say, is a much bigger priority because sometimes Mana Cyclones give you too clunky of an option.
There's the combo activator we've been looking for. Cutting Class, Dread Corsair, damage to face. His hand's coming together very, very nicely.
Oh yes, and he has Secret Passages to fall back on, plus the triple S. Although the immediate next turn is looking a little bit slow.
It is. I mean, maybe it does just lead into Secret Passage next turn, just to try and find stealth minions to push onto the board. There's plenty of ways to approach this.
How brave is DawN?
It's so likely to give you an activation, right, with Shenvala.
Yeah.
It's so likely.
Super duper likely. Any 1-cost spell.
Yeah, the obvious dreams being Brain Freeze, Ray of Frost, even Devolving Missiles would be pretty good here as well.
Yeah. I would take a side quest as long as I get a 5/5.
What to do?
I guess there's a question of do you commit the Apprentice into that turn? Because the outcome is the same. Like, you need it to be 1 cost either way.
Oh.
This line...
Wow. Man, he is in on the value line here. He wants to get some value off of these Cyclones big time.
Yeah. And you can make the argument that Shenvala, even if it dies, soaks up 5 damage, which is a big deal against Weapon Rogue.
Oh, it's close. Like
I'm very ambivalent on the line.
Yeah. Like my first instinct was to say I really don't like it, but you know, having looked a little bit closer, to be fair, if you throw down coin and your magic trick and the 1-mana spell that comes off of that, your hand is looking very dry. Whereas Shenvala here is a real threat. It kind of just has to be dealt with by che0nsu, or you're going to run away with the game.
Yeah, it's a pseudo taunt for sure.
Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I actually quite like this line from from DawN for sure.
Okay, and for che0nsu, he's going for Secret Passage because he says his hand is not good enough, and this is a decent payoff. In the end, you still have to sink too much damage into Shenvala, but he gets free board development alongside it. Oh, does he ever say? Does he ever?
Okay, no. Okay, the sensible line. The one that keeps him in the game as well, I think it's fair to say.
Sometimes you overthink it and like, oh, if they played Shenvala but didn't go for the coin activation, maybe they don't even have enough. But overall, che0nsu trying not to get baited there, and this is the big turn for DawN.
This is what it's all been setting up for. Mirror Image, huge double Cyclone activation available on this turn as well.
Whoa, what?
Okay.
Feels like whatever our first instinct is, we just gloss over that and then we'll get DawN. It's like, I wanted Brain Freeze there!
I wanted Brain Freeze there, yeah! I really wanted Brain Freeze!
I'm losing it.
Yeah, me too. I think I would have approached this Cyclone turn a little bit differently. We could have got a double activation all on this one turn for like 4 spells each.
Yeah.
And we could have cleared the board.
Oh, he got the missiles. Doesn't matter, Dark. He's still clearing the board. And I think you're supposed to missiles first.
I'm pretty sure you missiles first.
Actually, well, okay. Then again, stealth versus non. Okay, maybe it's fine to trade first. Yeah. No, it's fine to trade first, right? Because you want to kill the stealth minions.
Okay. Yeah.
But I still wanted Brain Freeze.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna be petulant about this.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he got through the turn, right? That's like the baseline that we have been criticizing some players of, is they just rope out there, and he was playing quickly, which, to be fair, is what we've been asking for.
And I want to say he's just gonna win. Ice Barrier 2 turns later.
Oh,
deep
yeah.
freeze. What does che0nsu do about a deep freeze?
This is looking real good for DawN. And while we can disagree about the pop-off turn he had there, I think the setup with Shenvala, I honestly would have missed that, and I think I might have lost the game because of it. I think this was a very smart setup from DawN.
Yeah, that's a good point. You recognize that on one charge, the rogue doesn't want to like commit deadly poison, kill Shenvala. And even if they do kill Shenvala, you have the exact turn that DawN won. Flashes of brilliance. I want to see more of it, DawN.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. It's there. He just needs to let it flourish.
Ross Bolt! Woo.
Yep. Ross Bolt is the dream.
Oh, poor che0nsu doesn't know that DawN just has 1,000,000 HP and che0nsu only has 1 weapon swing left.
So,
I mean, it's true.
Jandis?
He's frozen forever. Yeah.
He is going to be frozen forever. That's true.
I wonder. What makes something...
Yeah, Jandis 2-drop.
Gross. No mind games to be had here.
EGH. Bad news that this is the most inconvenient one for che0nsu.
And this is...
And the Jandis does make it so that DawN's turn is not the most straightforward ever.
Right. This is the turn to get over. If he can not die on this turn or tank a bunch of minion damage, he is in it. With just deep freeze on the following turn, that should more than likely lock out the game for him.
And I like starting with the missiles here because where they land can definitely dictate how the next trades go. Because if you clear off enough damage, then you can get away with Frostbolt Face and not necessarily even kill the 3/4.
Frostbolt Face, Arcane Missiles, then probably just Mana Cyclone even to close things out. You might get something cheap to throw down. Nice.
Oh.
Not terrible. Okay.
A delayed animation. I thought I was losing my mind.
Oh,
for a
right.
second.
No.
Oh my god, Frostbolts for days. Okay. Sure.
I thought he was going to play the Incanta's Flow for a second. I was about to throw my monitor out the window, but I think it's still good.
DawN's signature card by this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, poor che0nsu. He thinks he has weapon swings left.
He lacks critical information. I mean, even without the deep freeze here, just like Frostbolt into something into Pyroblast probably just locks out the game for DawN anyway.
Absolutely.
Oh,
even if che0nsu does get one weapon swing, it's not enough.
Like, DawN can literally just go ping his own Violet Spellwing here and Frostbolt Face, and I'd probably like that more.
Yeah, actually, che0nsu's done his best of, trying to attack from the board as well.
Yeah.
He's given himself the completely clear board state. So now this makes things ever so slightly inconvenient.
Wow, he's just ripping it. Okay.
che0nsu!
Yeah.
Oh, this poor man.
Probably just locks out the game, to be fair, even with all this damage on the board.
che0nsu has 2 Eviscerates.
Oh,
but that's the only damage he can send face, aside from these minions.
Yeah. I guess if DawN can't clear up all the minions, then there's a chance.
Actually, yeah, that's the line, right? Now you just play Krastenov as a 4/4.
Yeah.
And don't even rush it, and just say, okay, if you're gonna freeze my face with one of the 3/6s, maybe I stick something that can attack next turn, and you just rely on the double Eviscerate.
You know that he has Violet Spellwing Ping, but
Yeah.
I mean, you live in the world where they all go face. Like, you've got to get lucky.
And that also takes 4 mana to do
That's
all
true,
of that with the
that's true.
Arcane Missiles. Yeah, I really like the line for che0nsu. He has enough board space as well to go Volterra double Evis. If 4 damage can connect.
Sure. Spellwing.
Wait, Spellkin?
Spellkin, sorry. I mean, Spellkin's fine,
So
right?
that's
He can,
super... Oh.
he can still go
No.
Spellwing afterwards with the Ping and Missiles, and he has the chance to hit Missiles, Devolving Missiles, Arcane
But
Breath.
I want a Frostbolt. I don't know.
That's true, that's true.
You don't pick the ones.
Okay, if you're going Spellwing, you can also fit in this
Ooh.
one maker, so starting with that.
He can fit in everything, right? He goes Ping, Missiles, Frostbolt, Mirror Image. A gorgeous card to get.
Yeah, it's really good.
Right, thinking about ordering Frostbolt first, you'd have to imagine. Okay.
Yeah, okay, I like the trade.
Oh, that's pretty clean. That's pretty clean.
Yeah, che0nsu's locked out. And actually, if it weren't the mirror image, che0nsu actually had lethal. With the 3/1 and
Wow,
the
you're
other
right.
3/1 sticking.
You're actually right. Oh my god, that was so close!
That was insanely close.
So
And it's not over. He can generate a 7-drop.
7 drops. Baron.
Or do you
Geddon?
take 9-drop Volterra first?
King Crush?
I'm thinking King Crush. Yeah, King Crush.
Oh.
Let's do it. I want the 9-drop. I want the 9-drop. Let's go.
That is lethal if you hit King Crush exactly.
There's another, like the burly something is a rush
That's
minion, so
gone.
you can
That was
potentially.
kobolds.
Oh, is it gone?
Yeah.
Oh man, just ways to deal with the giant is your next priority, right? Because now you're worried about counter lethal.
Yeah.
I don't know what on 7 helps more than something on.
I mean, you can set up for like the survival play. If you hit Evasive Draconid, then you can go Avis on the giant.
Oh, it's so tough.
Or, let's go! King
Yeah.
Crush, baby, come on!
Bug, bug, bug. I want to hear the big stomping.
No!
Oh, no!
Alright, it was a worthy effort.
Now he has to invest with 3/3.
Okay, not dead. Not technically
Not
dead
dead.
on board. Obviously, Pyroblast
We
close
can
out the
see.
game anyway.
Yeah.
And we are going to be going, assuming DawN has reasonable APM, good job, to Game 5 here in this series. What a marathon. The emotions that I have felt over the course of this series, Gia, I cannot even explain to you. I don't have words for them.
And this is coming off the back of last series, which came off the back of Glory Misclick series. Like, oh, today has been so wild. Do you remember? It was just a couple hours ago, or maybe even less than 2 hours, where we had the Blitzchung game where both players had insanely perfect draws. Druid Tempo Mage,
Yeah.
Tank Yugi, and now we have come down to Game 5 of DawN versus che0nsu, the battle of the different rogue archetypes.
What innocent fools we were, but an hour ago, unaware of what would happen to us in this series. It is the secret rogue up against the weapon rogue here, and my first instinct in the matchup, and one that has kind of played out in the way I've seen it in practice, is of course that the weapon rogue is just kind of more aggressive. They get the stealth minions down, they get the weapons down, they push face. Rogue has no healing, but it's quite obviously not quite so simple as that. Given that the secret rogue does have some ability to fight back.
I would agree. The secrets can very much mess with where the weapon swings go. Noble Sacrifice for 1 mana can just delete 6 or 8 damage from your opponent if you time it correctly. I will say that from che0nsu, I really like that he went for a different line towards the end, or at least a non-obvious one, of still trying to play for the board, sapping a Violet Spellwing, noting that there were worlds where he couldn't get to swing with his weapon, and although it didn't work out at the end, I think che0nsu's been playing the deck pretty well.
I absolutely think so too. He's going to have to be carrying on doing so here, though. Don't think that sentence made any sense whatsoever, but we'll go with it for the moment. Not the hand that you're looking to start off with. Jandis Barov is definitely a power spike in the deck, but I feel like in Weapon Rogue you're relying too much on the weapon synergies to be keeping it.
Yeah, I would agree. I was more interested in potentially keeping Backstab because he is going second, but the fact that your turn 1 plays tend to be stealth minions that you don't even need to protect with Backstab, I think justifies throwing it.
Pretty juicy curve though, right? I don't care if we're going Coin Sage into just 3/3 Toxin Blade. That's stats on board.
For DawN though, this starts to get questionable. It's probably just going to be the Micro Mummy, but there are worlds where you disincentivize che0nsu developing if you just play Hanar.
Yeah, Hanar is strong against like exactly Coin Greyheart Sage. It's bad against Coin Self-Sharpening Sword. It's bad against Coin Scimitar. I think it's just weak against too much to throw it down here. I like the Micro Mummy.
Yeah, or even Coin Greyheart with Backstab is
sure, yeah.
And because you're not playing Hanar immediately, you have to consider Ambush as well, but I think the Sticky Minion is the most useful. Don't care if it has low attack. che0nsu's minions have 1 health anyway. Wow, indeed.
Just Ambush?
A cruel fate awaits you in the ashes.
I kind of don't really see what that accomplishes. I thought that the Micro Mummy was positioned pretty well because it just gives such a clean trade to the Spy Mistress.
Yes, it's a sticky minion. It's like, even if you consider it 2 1/1s instead of a 1/2 and a 2/1, that lines up better against most of che0nsu's boards than the ambush minion, at least this early on.
I mean, the fact that it's a secret in hand when you have Hanar is obviously something, but not massively important because you're fairly likely to find another one. Just didn't seem like the strongest play.
Yeah, the most durable board state.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal that DawN picked up a way to use the rest of his mana and a decent removal spell.
That is the card, though. Look at the rest of this hand. Cutting Class, Dread Corsair, Krasinov, and Toxin Blade. The entire world just opens up in terms of possibilities now for che0nsu. He is so far in the lead.
He found the 1-card combo. And he is even taking what I feel is a very responsible trade on the Micro Mummy. I think the one way che0nsu loses from here is if DawN hits the type of lackey heavy hand if he has like Miscreant and just goes super wide. The Micro Mummy incrementally sometimes gets DawN enough aggression.
Yeah.
This right here is just praying that the questing stick.
Oh.
And he has to.
Yeah, I mean, well, he didn't have to. The other line was Hanar plus Plagiarize, which I was definitely eyeing up a bit more heavily. Yeah, like, I know it's not amazing, but neither is this. Like, it's possible that it survives, I suppose. It is possible.
That's fair. I mean, both the questing and the Hanar needed, like, +1 damage or more, but the plus damage from rogues comes in 2 or more with Deadly Poison and the Volpera. So my mind was thinking if the questing is dead, then the Hanar is dead.
We'll take Ogremancer, absolutely, and we'll take Shadow Step on the Jandis.
Yeah.
You can sign me up for that.
Yes. Looks super strong here. Can pair it with Plagiarize or Hanar next turn.
Maybe you'll get Stranglethorn Tiger to go with this Starving Buzzard as well. Oh.
Aside from Kel'Thuzad, that's the other one that appreciates kitties being generated.
White.
Oh yes, I would take a Krastenov here.
Is that better than Sap? Always like I know that you give a 2/2 taunt, but just sapping away the 3/7 is such a huge tempo swing.
What about ignoring it this turn?
That's fair. The 3/7 is not the worst thing in the world against you.
Rush into the Buzzard, I would imagine, and then you can VT the 1 Thief to make the 3/7 trade a little bit less awkward. Although you kind of give them Dagger, so maybe you just rush into the 2/2, 2/1 into 3/2, everything else face.
That's what I was looking at. Give them nothing for the Dagger on the following turn. You lose a little bit of damage by trading, of course, but I mean, look at the upside you're getting. You're getting 12 damage to face on this turn still. It's ludicrous.
Like, ideally, the play sets up for your 7 damage self-sharpening sword, getting rid of the 3/7 in one fell swoop without having to use a spell. Obviously, it's gonna trade, so it doesn't work out that cleanly, but I think this is much more powerful than sapping at this turn.
And I think that the real underlying power of this turn for che0nsu is even if it's not an overwhelmingly strong turn, the Krasinov can stick. That's where the power comes in. And even against a really bloomin' powerful Jandis here from DawN, he's still getting a second upgrade on the weapon here, unless the answer comes off Secret Passage.
And what's the answer? Oh, backstab!
That's it!
And the dagger! Wait, he's not taking the guaranteed?
Whoa!
Whoa,
That's
DawN!
so risky!
That is super ballsy. I was gonna backstab dagger like an absolute power there every single day of the week. I don't know.
So was I. So was I. I mean, 35% of the time, he would have been extremely happy with this line.
Yeah. And how much damage is this?
So obviously Sap does put another taunt in the way, so you have to be wary of that.
Yeah, that's super awkward, huh?
Man, these Janices were absolutely insane. Even ignoring the Buzzard, these were all 3 premium minions.
I think he has to both sap and Divis this turn.
So what, you sap the 4/6?
Oh god, super awkward because then it's coming down again next turn. Is there any way that he can save the Ivis for face? Can he put DawN down to 4?
So he can just not use any spells this turn. It could be the case of you go swing the weapon in, go Krastinov face, 3/1 face, play out Toxin Blade, Spy Mistress. I know you're missing a lot of damage then.
I would honestly take both trades and send the weapon face instead. But
or yeah, maybe.
I think this is smart, right? Because he just plays all the minions instead. You're almost never dead this turn.
I like this.
You set up for weapon swing plus eviscerate face, which you can do because first you can sap either the Ogremancer or whatever, and then take a minion trade onto the 2/2 taunt.
2 card draws available, obviously, on this turn, so this is not it. And also, Hanar plus a secret. If he can get himself, like you were talking about, misdirection, noble sacrifice, ice barrier, there are powerful secrets here, but he has to find them.
And it does kind of have to be barrier for this specific board case because board state because there are 2 stealth minions.
True.
So, Hanar, let's go.
I'm not seeing another course of action. Yeah, I agree.
There's the small chances for the double Titanic lackeys. Oh man.
Oh, he's digging for it. He's going for Titanics instead.
Don't feel like that's better odds than Hanar, but I could be wrong. There's a chance for Hanar and you hit both Noble Sack and Misdirection.
He has to go. He has to go right now.
Yeah, he has to. I don't think this is the highest odds line.
Oh, okay. He gets Titanic. And then
he's not,
doesn't play it.
Then he's just dead on board. Huh? I mean...
Well, perfect end to the series there. Got to be said there from that one. That was, I think, pretty emblematic of what happened. It is over now, che0nsu, and che0nsu does take his first win of the round robin. He's up to 1 and 4. The potential chance of not being in the bottom 2 is now alive. But, man, I mean, I don't even know if you feel that good about taking the win. It was honestly just rife with mistakes from DawN.
From che0nsu's end, he didn't even see half the things that went wrong for DawN there. So obviously I'm sure he's feeling great, but I have to agree. I just feel, I mean, a while ago I wanted to send a medic for glory after that whole incident. I hope somebody's checking on DawN as well. He was so stressed there at the end. Like, he even knew that even though it was very likely he was still dead, even after getting the Titanic on board, this was a guy who just last week was going for hero power to not guaranteed die to a Dragonbane off the top, which he knew was coming. And that's just the correct thing to do, even if you feel like you're going to lose. And I hate to see him just kind of falling back on bad habits.
Yeah, we've seen even in that series, I think there were some very inspired plays from DawN, but it's not